All right, I'm going to talk to you about Chapter 6, and I'm going to try to help you take notes in a more timely fashion. And I don't want you to really cut corners, but I want you to stop, spending 2 hours on each chapter, because it's not really necessary. So you should definitely watch this before you start taking notes with Chapter 6, and even watch this as you take notes with Chapter 6, because I think that it will help you a lot. Now, 6.1 is the demographic trends and their likely impact on American politics. On the bottom of 182, it talks about the census. The census is done, here's what you need to know, it's done every 10 years. It's important to count the people we have in the United States and their demographics so that we can allocate over $400 billion of federal funding. This often goes is not counted appropriately because a lot of people don't fill out their census forms, and oftentimes it's the people who need the help the most. So that's the main thing about census. I'm sorry, one more thing about census. You need to know that the census misses, like I said, the people who need it the most, the concentrations of minorities, people with low incomes, and children. And they end up getting less federal aid because they don't get counted. Next, you have the Immigrant Society, and you need to go through that, and you need to put the following things in your notes. First of all, how many immigrants come in a year, illegal and legal? That's 1 million new immigrants a year are legal and 500,000 illegal. Then you need to know the waves of immigration, and all this is on the bottom of 183. But it started with Northwest Europeans, then it was Eastern Europeans, and now it's Hispanics and Asians. Read over that, add it to your notes. We will probably go over that in class as well. Then you need to know on the top of 184, you need to know the Immigration Acts, and there are 4 of them. Well, in 1875, they limited criminals and prostitutes. Then you had the Chinese Exclusion Act. Then you had the Johnson-Reed Immigration Act, and the most recent one, which is the one we still go by today, is the Hart-Celler Immigration and Nationality Act, which is all about family integration. So make sure you get those in your notes and you're familiar with those. So you can pause it right here, go back, make sure you get those in your notes. The next section is the American Melting Pot, and it talks about how America is a land of many different cultures, and it talks about the main thing I want you to get with this is the minority majority, and there are some different things, but if you look on figure 6.1 on page 186, it talks about the coming minority majority. And what's cool about this is you see the white non-Hispanic, which in 2015 is like at 60%, and by 2060-ish, it's going to be at 40%. So that means that the minorities will be more like 60%. So by the time you guys are old like me, white non-Hispanic will be in the minority. So a lot of this section is dealing with the changing demographics of America. And it talks about the Simpson-Mazzoli Act on page 187. And all this did was it was 1986, and it required employers to document citizenship of their employees. And it didn't work out because everybody was like, I don't know how to do that. I'm like, I don't know. They just started looking at their employees and saying, you're a documented immigrant, so it's okay. So there was no really way to police this, and it didn't work. The next thing in that section is about Asians are the new highly skilled immigrants. I heard something on the news the other day about how Asians are the most educated, high skilled immigrants to ever come into America. Political culture and reapportionment are terms, and I think that might be it. The graying of America are the baby boomers that are getting older, and they're getting Social Security. So that's a problem. You got this many people working and this many people drawing. And when Social Security and when baby boomers were working, you had this many people working and this many people drawing. So obviously when you got this many people paying in, and this many people drawing, it's okay. You got this many people paying in, and this many people drawing, there's a problem, and that's the problem. So this sums up 6.1.